Ever feel a chill run down your spine when you're alone? Or hear a noise you just can't explain? Sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones from movies, but the ones that actually happened. Today we're diving deep into 10 real-life horror stories that are more terrifying than any fiction. These are the mysteries that have kept people up at night for decades, so turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's begin. Our first story takes us to the freezing Ural Mountains in Russia in 1959. Nine experienced hikers set out on an expedition, but they never returned. When rescuers finally found their campsite, what they discovered was bizarre. Their tent was ripped open from the inside, as if they were desperately trying to escape something. Their bodies were scattered across the snowy landscape, some found hundreds of meters away, barefoot and only partially dressed in sub-zero temperatures. Some had severe internal injuries, like crushed ribs and a fractured skull, but no external wounds. One woman was missing her tongue. To make it even stranger, some of their clothes were found to be radioactive. Was it an avalanche, a secret military test, or something else entirely? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of history's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Next, we travel to a remote farm in Germany called Hinterkaifeck in 1922. The Gruber family, along with their maid, were brutally murdered with a pickaxe. But the horror started long before the murders. The family had been experiencing strange things for months. Footprints in the snow leading from the woods to their house, but none leading away. Keys went missing. They heard footsteps in the attic and saw strange figures in the woods. The day of the murders, their new maid arrived, only to be killed just hours later. The killer apparently stayed on the farm for several days after the crime, feeding the livestock and eating their food. To this day, no one knows who did it or why. The thought of an unknown person living in your house, watching you, is absolutely terrifying. Let's head to America for our next story. The Villisca Axe murders of 1912. In the small town of Villisca, Iowa, the Moore family of six and two young house guests were found bludgeoned to death in their beds with an axe. The killer had covered all the mirrors and windows in the house with cloths and locked the doors from the inside before leaving. The crime was so brutal it shocked the entire nation. Despite numerous suspects, including a traveling minister and a state senator, no one was ever convicted. The case remains unsolved, a dark stain on the town's history. The house still stands today, and many who visit claim it's one of the most haunted places in America, with reports of children's voices and shadowy figures. From an unsolved crime to a case of mass hysteria, our next story is the Salem witch trials of 1692. In Salem, Massachusetts, a wave of paranoia and fear swept through the community. It all started when a few young girls began having strange fits and accused several local women of bewitching them. This sparked a full-blown witch hunt. Over 200 people were accused of witchcraft, and 19 were hanged. Others died in prison. The real horror here isn't about actual witches, but about how fear, superstition, and a broken justice system can lead ordinary people to commit monstrous acts against their neighbors. It's a chilling reminder of what can happen when reason is abandoned. Now for a classic American ghost story, The Bell Witch haunting. Between 1817 and 1821, the Bell family in Tennessee claimed they were tormented by an unseen entity. It started with strange knocking and scratching sounds, but it quickly escalated. The entity, which became known as the Bell Witch, would pull off their blankets, slap them, and even speak to them in a disembodied voice. It seemed to particularly target the father, John Bell, and his daughter, Betsy. The haunting became so famous that even future President Andrew Jackson supposedly visited the farm to investigate, and was driven away by the entity's power. The Bell Witch is said to have eventually poisoned John Bell, making it one of the only cases in history where a spirit is blamed for a person's death. Fast forward to 1947, Los Angeles, and the infamous case of the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short, a 22-year-old aspiring actress, was found brutally murdered. Her body had been severed in half and drained of blood, with her face cut into a grotesque smile. The crime was sensationalized by the media, who gave her the nickname the Black Dahlia. The killer even taunted the police and newspapers, sending them letters and some of Short's belongings. Despite a massive investigation and dozens of confessions, her killer was never found. The sheer brutality and the mystery surrounding her death have made it one of Hollywood's darkest and most enduring tales. Have you heard of the Amityville Horror? In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his parents and four siblings in their home in Amityville, New York. A year later, the Lutz family bought the house for a bargain price and moved in. They lasted just 28 days. They claimed they were terrorized by paranormal phenomena, strange smells, swarms of FLIs in the dead of winter, cold spots, and a mysterious red room in the basement. George Lutz would wake up at 3:15 a.m. every morning, the same time the Defio murders happened. While many skeptics have debunked their story, the tale of the Amityville Horror has become a cultural phenomenon, spawning books and movies that have terrified audiences for generations. Our next story is a modern mystery that unfolded. In the digital age, in 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam went missing while staying at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. The police released a bizarre elevator surveillance video of her last known moments. In the footage, she's seen acting erratically, hiding in the corner of the elevator, pressing all the buttons, and waving her arms as if talking to someone who isn't there. The video went viral, and internet's sleuths came up with countless theories. Weeks later, her body was found in one of the Hotel E's rooftop water tanks after guests complained about the water pressure and taste. The tank's lid was closed, and how she got in there remains a mystery. Her death was officially ruled an accidental drowning. But the strange circumstances and that chilling video leave many questions unanswered. Let's go back in time to New Orleans, between 1918 and 1919. A city known for its vibrant music was living in fear of a serial killer known as the Axeman. This mysterious figure would break into people's homes at night and attack them with an axe, often one belonging to the victims themselves. The attacks seemed random. Then the killer sent a letter to the local newspapers. In it, he claimed he was a demon from hell and that he would spare any house where a jazz band was playing on a specific Tuesday night. That night, the entire city of New Orleans filled the air with jazz music from homes and dance halls. No one was killed that night. The Axeman was never caught, and his identity remains one of the great American crime mysteries. For our final tale, we visit what has been called the most haunted house in England, Borley Rectory. This Victorian mansion, built in 1862, had a long history of paranormal claims. But the activity ramped up in the 1930s when paranormal investigator Harry Price got involved. There were reports of ghostly apparitions, including a phantom nun, strange sounds, objects being thrown, and mysterious messages scrawled on the walls. The stories became so famous that the rectory attracted ghost hunters and thrill seekers from all over. The building eventually burned down in 1939, but even the ruins were said to be haunted, whether it was genuine paranormal activity or an elaborate hoax. The legend of Borley Rectory has cemented its place in ghost lore. And there you have it, 10 real-life stories that prove truth can be stranger and much more frightening than fiction. From unsolved murders to unexplainable events, these tales linger in our collective memory because they tap into our deepest fears of the unknown. What do you think happened in these cases? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the dark side of history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe out there.